So, Christmas Duck. Hi, I'm Steve Gaynor. I'm the co-founder of the Fulbright. Yeah, the biggest purpose of the Goodfellow High School.
Hello, my name is Kate Craig, and I was creating a lot of the environment assets for the game.
Oh man, mom handwriting. We went through a lot.
Hi, I'm Chris Remo, the composer on Gone Home. In my commentary tracks, I'm going to be talking a little bit.
This is where you find the first half of Sam's.
Hi, this is Corin Tucker from Heavens to Betsy. And Heavens to Betsy was a band that formed in
When you're putting like lamps.
So these are all the VHS tapes, or most of them, in the house. And these in the...
My name is Sarah Grayson, and I do the voice of Sam Greenbrier in Gone Home. Currently based out of Portland, Oregon, so right around where the Fulbright.
So here's one of Dad's pulpy JFK books.
One of our favorite movies is...
The doors were actually one of the hardest things in the game to get working correctly, and I know that there's still some...
Here we have Fresh Magazine, which is...
Inside of this file folder, you find the first combination code in the game. This code goes to Dad's locked filing cabinet, and it's 0451, which is a bit of...
Most of the bookshelves in the house are... This is our old-timey record that we got from archive.org, source of all good things. It's...
I feel like one of the best bits of advice was actually from the Fulbright team before going in to do the first recording. And it was a suggestion that I should watch.
Composing the ambient exploration tracks definitely ended up being the weirdest part of creating music for Gone Home. The audio diaries tend...
One of the larger assets that we needed for the basement to really give it character and personality was...
Oh man, this thing.
So two things. One, Mom's Canadian. So there's this little...
You know, there was kind of this intellectual, cross-cultural...
There's a little bit of concern.
Putback is the feature that I'm happiest with in the game, and it actually came about as sort of a little bit of an accident. Playtesters had told us they didn't want to feel like some kind of horrible person rummaging around this house and tossing everything on the floor, but there wasn't really any other option initially. That's all you could do was sort of try and lob things back into the place. So, you know, I had done some code before. Putback is the feature that I'm happiest with in the game, and it actually came about as sort of a little bit of an accident. Playtesters had told us they didn't want to feel like some kind of horrible person rummaging around this house and tossing everything on the floor, but there wasn't really any other option initially. That's...
The music for Gone Home was mainly composed over two separate periods, roughly a year apart. A version of Part 1 of the game had to be ready by October 2020.
Fanzines, I mean, that's one of the things that we started doing right away, was doing these Riot Girl fanzines, and everyone would contribute and write.
So earlier in
all of the sliding doors that you see in the game are actually...
writing...
You know, it's really about the ideals that we were trying to get across in our music. You know, I think that
when you put out any sort...
For a long time, the kitchen was not going to be mid-renovation the way that it is.
Definitely the second half was where a lot more of the emotional...
Oh, you found an Easter egg!
Who found it?
You found it! This is the best! You looked up! No one in a first-person game looks up!
Because there's no rewards.
So...
I'd already played through the first full half of Gone Home before I started composing any music.
Really early on, I had just... We didn't really give Kate very specific direction for this. You want to talk about this fucking jazz mug?
Nobody wants to talk about the jazz mug.
Well,
It's
except
the
for
worst.
Carla.
I hate it. It's the worst.
that was such a common theme
Yeah.
when we were like approving assets or making stuff visually for Gone Home. Is just like, oh my god, that's hideous. I fucking hate it. We're putting it in the game.
Yeah,
because
there's
like
so
just
much
like
of that.
awful '90s furniture and like
we see it in a secondhand store or like
or you
just
see
on
it
the
in the
internet.
Sears catalog
Like,
we
yeah,
bought,
it's
and it's just
true.
like there's
We
so
just
many
feel like,
fucking
ugh,
ruffles on it. I want to puke. Like the wicker furniture in
Yeah.
Mom and Dad's room.
Right.
It's like that's fucking hideous.
We need it.
The fact that there are speedruns for our game makes me really happy, and the fact that, you know, that the any percent speedrun, aka you don't have to pick up anything, just get to the end as fast as possible, has basically been...
We never really discussed the idea of individually scoring each audio log.
I had seen Bikini Kill and Bratmobile play their first show at the North Shore Surf Club in Olympia.
around. So these are stereo...
One of the assets that I really like to
Yeah, I ended up being pretty happy with this. This is
I was one of the hosts of the Idle Thumbs video game podcast for it. Barf Burger is enjoyed by all. So a lot of Gone Home is about pointless interactivity.
the boxes of tampons.
I mean, one of the most comforting things in the world to me is having somebody, like, brush my hair or stroke my head, like my mom when I wasn't feeling well.
The life cycle of the condom.
that's
One of my favorite things that came out during development was someone...
Another board game.
So there's a lot less density in the house than there would be in a real house. Like, if you look around your house, there's just junk piled everywhere, probably.
Maybe
like,
it's just our house.
I think it's most house.
Oh, you're right.
But almost none of the events, the little events in the game, are scripted.
I really enjoyed playing Gone Home. I have to say it was pretty exciting.
Okay, the Wildfire book. Oh man, look at this thing. Yeah, this was another one of those situations in which I totally felt like a weird creepo when I was doing research, and there was a lot of really horrifying romance novel covers. This poor guy.
You want to talk about A Place for Christmas Duck?
This is where Christmas Duck goes.
I think
It's one of those things where we had always wanted to... So this is the last room in the game, or at least the last room chronologically in the story.
Dear Katie, so much has changed, even just since you've been away. We moved into this house. I'm in a new school. Oh my God, you are so lucky you finished high school before we moved into this house. So, it's the first day of school, and there I am, introducing myself to the class. You know that feeling where the first moment you see someone, it's like they have a big gold star around them, and you have to get to know them? Well, there's this girl. I think she's a senior. She's usually dressed kind of punk, but sometimes I see her in this, like, army uniform. When you live in one place your whole life, your next door neighbor is kind of like your default friend. And Daniel only got weirder over the years. So you know what they say about the best laid plans of mice and men? Yeah, turns out it applies to Street Fighter too. At least I worked up the courage to walk into the 7-Eleven and ask for a turn, but all that practice at home did not exactly translate in the wild. So after I was finished getting my butt kicked, I followed them outside while they smoked. And that was when she asked me if I was that psycho house girl. The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. It's weird hanging out with girls. Daniel was around ever since I was little, and other girls? I don't know. But being around Lonnie is like instantly just right. I gave her the grand Psycho House tour and took my revenge on Super Nintendo. Lonnie came over today, but everything was different. She was sitting at my desk chair, and she wouldn't look at me. Finally, I asked her what was going on. Lonnie brought her hair dye over today. She said, "I need to fix these roots. Think you could help?" Dyeing hair is weirdly intimate. I don't know if I've touched someone else's scalp before. That's pretty intimate, right? It felt intimate. We looked into the mirror together after. Sometimes you just have to lie to Mom and Dad. Like when Lonnie asked me to see a band with her and stay over at her friend's place in the city after. That's a lie to Mom and Dad situation. But it was so worth it. The girls on stage were just so loud and real and awesome. And everybody was moving together like one huge tide of sound. Between two songs, Lonnie leaned over and said, "How do you like your first show?" I was so happy. I felt tears starting in my eyes. And then she up and hugged me. I think she could tell. At Todd's brother's place after the show, there was only a futon to sleep on, so Lonnie and I shared it. The lights went out. I was turned toward her. My eyes started to adjust, and then I could see she was looking at me, too. In the dark, she smiled. My heart was beating so fast. I rolled over. I felt so, I don't know, nervous. After a minute, she put her arm around me and was so close and whispered in my ear, "I really like you." It's different now. I mean, we still hang out all the time like before. But now when no one else is around, well, I'm so stupid sometimes. I was telling Lonnie that I got into my college summer program thing. Todd's band lost their singer. Todd said he sucked. Lonnie said he got sick of Todd's shit, and he was complaining about needing a new singer, so Lonnie... They tell you to stick with the group on field trips, Katie. There's a reason for that. Lonnie and I snuck off on the side paths at Multnomah Falls and got a little lost. Okay, a lot lost. Like, for hours. Right before the bus left, we found a trail and came running down the path, soaked and... I don't get Lonnie sometimes. Like, her band, and our zine, and her hair, and everything are all anti-authority. But I watch her in JROTC, and... Katie, you know how Mom and Dad are. Not exactly super open-minded about things. It feels like every minute I don't spend with Lonnie, I spend worrying about them finding out about us. And what would happen if they did? You know Dad's joke about the nunnery that he'd tell whenever you brought boys around? I had an interesting talk with Mom and Dad tonight. One you were never gonna need to have. I mean, you've known, right? I've known. I've known since, like, She-Ra. Mom and Dad didn't, I guess. Lonnie had her going-away show with her band tonight. She's so incredible on stage. When she was singing, I could practically forget everything. We agreed our last night together would be our happiest ever, and we'd forget tomorrow was going to come at all. It worked for a while. We had a good time seeing Oscar off, then ran up to the attic to look through our photos, to find one for Lonnie to take with her. And looking at them, I realized they were all in the past. Daniel finally came over to get his game. I'd been dreading it. But he brought this story with him. I asked Lonnie what she had to do to get ready to ship out for basic training. She said, not a lot, really. You're not allowed to bring anything with you. You have no possessions, no contact with the outside world while you're in basic. You just train hard every day, and then you deploy from there. So, they'll just send her away. To who knows where. The other side of the country? The other side of the world? My mind, can't process it. She's really going to be gone. Just gone.
Meow meow. Meow meow. Meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow meow. Meow meow meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow 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 meow. Meow.
Oh my god. Katie. I fell asleep in the attic, in Lonnie and my old spot, and I missed the first 2 calls. I just barely caught the third one before the machine got it. And it was Lonnie, on a payphone. The sunset light in this house is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I just want to sleep. When I'm in the attic, it almost feels like Lonnie could still be here. She's just downstairs. I'm just waiting to hear her pull down the hatch and come running up. Maybe I'll go up to the attic and wait. Katie, I'm so sorry.